Ever since it came out, Suicide Squad has divided audiences everywhere. Some love it, and others were left confused when they walked out of theater. Some of the people who were the most bewildered by the final product was the Joker himself, Jared Leto, and David Ayer, who directed the movie, but one big deleted scene might have just changed the whole thing. Joker, Joker, Joker. There are few characters out there that cause quite as much of a stir as the Joker does when brought onto the big screen. Getting cast as the Clown Prince of Crime can make an actor an icon, like it did for Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, or Joaquin Phoenix. Or it can go in a slightly different direction. Jared Leto's Joker continues to divide audiences everywhere, as it has done since the very first image of his character design was released, long before the trailer for Suicide Squad even dropped. While the modernization of the character's signature look struck the right chord with some, the new addition of face tattoos and a grill had others either laughing or outraged. Coupled with the non-stop rumors about Leto's strange and over-the-top methods of getting into character, Suicide Squad's Joker was either being built up to blow all of our minds or to make us run for the hills. But after a trailer that seemed to promise a whole slew of thrilling Joker antics, when Suicide Squad actually hit theaters, audiences everywhere were just plain confused. Where was the Joker? Sure, he is in the movie, but for, as one clever Redditor pointed out, a grand total of 7 minutes and 45 seconds, and 20 of those seconds are a flashback. They're not even part of the plot. What was going on here? After all the hype and months and months and months of build-up, the total lack of Joker in Suicide Squad made no sense. Something about the whole thing didn't sit right with fans, and for good reason. And then, after the movie had been seen by audiences everywhere, the cast and crew of the movie started to speak up about it, confirming the fact that this lack of Joker wasn't exactly what had been planned. Specifically, Jared Leto himself said that his 7 minutes of screen time wasn't even close to everything that was shot, and that much of his work was apparently cut from the final version. It's taken him a little while longer, but finally director David Ayer has taken to Instagram and Twitter to express some feelings of his own about what happened behind the scenes of Suicide Squad. He did so in a pretty cryptic way, but not so subtly that we didn't pick up on just what he was talking about. In the past, Ayer has been very clear to the public about the fact that he didn't cut any Joker scenes because he wasn't happy with Jared Leto's performance. So we can come to the conclusion that the scenes either didn't serve the rest of the story, or that some third party got involved and made him make cuts they thought would work better for an audience. It could very well have something to do with the film's PG-13 rating, and the fact that Jared Leto really doesn't seem like he lives in a very PG-13 world, if you know what we mean. It's also important to note that, since Suicide Squad was released, all talks of future Jared Leto projects have essentially disappeared. There was a time when he was not only supposed to have a part in the Gotham City Sirens movie that has become Birds of Prey, but also star in his own standalone film, and come back for a sequel to Suicide Squad. Clearly something big has gone on behind the screens, but what that is, we may never know. What we do know is that Ayer's recent post on Instagram leads us to believe that the final version of Suicide Squad isn't exactly the movie that he set out to make. It's pretty clear that some interference from Warner Brothers executives might have gotten in the way, and, as a result, the final version of the film is a pretty huge departure from what was intended to be created. Ayer posted a photo on Instagram of what appears to be a deleted scene between Harley and the Joker, with half his face either burnt or covered in dirt, holding a gun to Harley's head. In the caption, he mysteriously writes about how movies are fragile and have a life of their own, and then he says, "If you change the destination after the trip is complete, is it still the same journey?" This might sound like some harmless musing, but the meaning is pretty clear. It sounds as if Ayer is saying that, once they had completed filming one version of the movie, or the trip, at the last minute it got changed to something entirely different. In the rest of the post, he talks about how, even though it might not be reflected in the final version of the movie, the backbone of the story is really Harley Quinn's journey. Also, he states that the real through line was supposed to be her finally finding the strength to break free of her toxic relationship with the Joker. Which is really interesting because pretty much none of that is clear in the actual Suicide Squad film. Obviously, Harley is an awesome character and has a ton of strength, but any notion of her trying to separate herself from the Joker didn't make it into the final version. He even breaks her out of prison at the end. To further solidify the fact that this Harley story was supposed to be a bigger part of the movie, Ayer took to Twitter to write about a scene from his version that was totally cut from the movie. He said that, in a scene that was supposed to follow, when the helicopter was blown up and Harley was left without her puddin', Joker was going to visit Enchantress to make a deal. This deal would see him reunite with Harley and become King of Gotham, in exchange for the lives of all the other members of the squad. After he made the deal, in Ayer's version, Harley would have then refused to go with him, and instead stand up for herself and all of her new friends. Even more, Ayer has also bluntly stated that he wished he had made the Joker the main antagonist in the movie, instead of Enchantress. Sure, Enchantress had the potential to be cool, but with so much else going on in the movie, audiences were never given the chance to connect with that whole story, and it wound up being pretty underwhelming. All of that sounds like a much more cohesive, story-driven movie that fans would have loved to have seen. We do hope that one day Ayer will release a secret director's edition of Suicide Squad, but it doesn't seem likely. At least, after all of that, we have both James Gunn's Suicide Squad and the upcoming Birds of Prey to look forward to. What a difference all of these changes would have made. What do you think? Would you have preferred Ayer's original version of Suicide Squad, or are you a fan of the version we got? Would you like to see Jared Leto get another crack at the Joker? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to click that subscribe button.